Hey everyone, we have finally made it to what is probably one of the hardest museums in the world to get to. And we are at the Ma'arra Mosaic Museum today, here in the Idlib government of Syria. So we're right south of the city of Idlib and also south of the city of Aleppo. This museum houses mosaics from the dead cities here in Syria. And so these mosaics come from the 3rd to 6th century AD. As you can tell from looking at this museum, it was heavily damaged during the Syrian Civil War, and it fell into the hands of a terrorist group, and they actually built their headquarters underneath this museum, and we'll be able to see that later on in this video. And you may be asking yourself, if this place was overtaken by terrorists, why are these mosaics in such good shape? Because everything that we've seen on the news from the Syrian Civil War is that these terrorist groups destroyed everything. And they did. But we have a group of men who, under threat to their own life, came to this museum and preserved these mosaics. They covered them up with sandbags to trick the terrorist into thinking there was nothing here, that all the mosaics had been removed. They also covered them with an adhesive along with a type of gauze, which you'll see here in a second on the right as we walk through this room. You see these mosaics on the wall that are still covered, that they are not able to remove the gauze until the sanctions are removed and they're able to buy the material to take this off. If you're interested in reading more about the group of men that saved these mosaics, I'm including a link in the description below to an NPR article that talks more about these monuments men of Syria.
So you can't really tell, but the floors are mosaics too. They're just covered up.
the soldiers did this. They hold it with this. So when the archaeologists came, they were thinking, no, you did something that they don't, it's better than it's before, you know. And till now they are waiting like for someone to come and reconstruct this area. But as you can see, we're seeing that because they love this place, they try as much as they can. They can help. Yeah.
The first line says, "In the name of the Lord."
Yes.
And but it's Old Greek. I cannot understand it.
As you heard our tour guide say in the prior clip with the mosaic that was being held up by the poles, that the soldiers who were here after this museum was taken back from the terrorists saw that the mosaic was about to fall and break into pieces. And so they did what they could with the materials that they had to protect that mosaic from falling and breaking. And as we're walking through here, you'll see just all of the broken shards of pottery. I can only imagine what this museum would have looked like pre-2011, before the Civil War happened. I'd seen a few pictures, and it was just incredibly beautiful. But this museum, it's just an honor to be able to walk through here and see and share the Syrian heritage that's found within these walls, going back to the 3rd through the 6th centuries. This museum is just another reminder of one of the sad realities of war, especially in this part of the world, where you've got so much history and ancient artifacts. And luckily for us, there were a few men who were willing to come here in the midst of war and protect all of these ancient mosaics for the Syrian people and for the world to come back and see one day. We've just finished walking through each of the rooms here in the museum, and we're about to head underground to see the terror headquarters that was here during the Civil War. And this headquarters was dug out by hand by prisoners that the terror group had taken. And so this, I will admit, was probably one of the heaviest parts of the whole trip, and it was just incredibly sad. But here it is.
So again, they let the people who
And
they
this was
kidnapped.
what year? 2014?
No, it was taken through 2012
Okay.
till 2019. So between
7 years.
and you can see the stones. So it must have been very hard digging this tunnel.
So it was only liberated in 2019.
At the late 2019.
Okay, wow.
I was telling Max, then we had COVID. Then after that, reconstruction started in this museum.
Right, so it's quite recent.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, what a horrible place.
Okay, بعدين شو عملوا؟
فتحوه يعني.
Okay, this is a way for water. So they opened, it was for, that's why they had water supplement. You can see that there's water.
Okay.
Yes, but now the army had covered it again. Okay, so from there, they used to come down for the water.
Oh, scorpion. It's in the water, don't worry, it's dead. It's impressive, look at that.
Yeah.
That would hurt.
So you can see that it's not even because it's from the hammering of the kidnapped people.
As well.
much.